At a young age, cooking with kerosene, pan-fried apple green recipes and magazines. Top chef before home ec developed his own tech to keep the dough fresh, and keep the flow wet, and keep the stove running. Deliver hot wraps, had to preheat the oven. Word got around, other chefs were summoned, but someone stole the whole book and left the kid with nothing. He got jaded fast. First showcase might have been the last. Forecast, icy. Fire's not pretty if it leads to meltdown in the chocolate city. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Rematch, they all went livid. Back on the scene, no props or gimmicks or obnoxious microwave toxic dinners. It's the Whole Food certified slop apprentice. Lines so sweet they could drop a dentist. Homebrew king when he topped the Guinness. Whoa, stop a minute. He's skipping through his life in that old kitchen, pushing to the limit. He let that percolate. Made a new track, wasn't worth the plate. Behind his back, new beef, increased stakes. Hot shot foes saw time to hate. Caught him at a demo of a Ginsu blade. Waylaid, a salt and pepper spray. Took the bread made plus the grade A green that he grew with his hands and the money he saved. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Kick, punch, they found him bleeding. Stewing in the kitchen, boiling pot steaming. Hand on a whetstone, blade tip gleaming. Hurt me, I'm gonna cold turkey these demons. Seething, not seen clearly, nearly poisoned a fan with his hands so filthy. The bad boy of culinary sciences went and trashed all his appliances. It went south, lost all the hype. Numbness and gout when the stove won't light. Can't taste now, so he rots in waste. Took his name off the menu, top slot disgrace. Moved for a change of pace, ditched the rhyme book. Didn't even try it as an amateur line cook. 10 years drank beer, sank into misery. Fake out, take out, Shawshank imagery. To one day and he's old and gray. That scar on his tongue long faded away. So he tries to spray, surprised when it sizzles. Like, kid, I missed you. Cause it's all in your mind. Air out the fridge and the light will shine. Maybe one more time he can spin those tables. Just another homebrew fable. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. But it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics. Cause it's all in your mind. Chop that beat, make 'em hit rewind. Fry those rhymes, saute that spinach. It's all in your mind, souffle these critics.
All right. Turn off that music. Well, 1 minute, whatever. At least I can be on here, you know, chatting away while getting things started here. Oh, I need to get some water. Never mind, 1 minute. Alright. Now. Alright. Get that off. My camera on. Hello. Testing that mic. Test that mic out. Alright. Alright. So you may not know me. I am Craftyandy. Get this shit off of here. Boom. So, and let's get the title off here. There we go. I'm Craftyandy. Going to be going over some videos, some news items with Michael Ringtail. He'll be coming on here later. I'm not sure how long this will be. We'll see. Someone told me I was in a video. A friend of mine. It's been almost a year before I managed to get enough time to actually look at it. So here we are. But first, cover the basics. Crafty Arts is my main channel. If everything works out, there should be a new video coming out this Thursday on that. Weirdzors is where new furry videos and related things of that nature will be coming on here. I got a whole thing lined up for it. It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. Pause off for gaming stuff. I do live streams. Well, Squigs does live streams Monday through Friday. Around 1 o'clock. We change up the game every week. So this week it's going to be Retro Week. And he's going to be playing Breakdown for the original Xbox. Assuming that Xbox doesn't just explode. Because there's no way to emulate it, apparently. Reliably. It just... He's got to get that original hardware in some cases. And if you like everything, you like to support things here, or support me, and help me out, and help feed me, you got a store, merchandise, Etsy, Craftyandy Arts. If you want a discount at that store, and help support me at the same time, you got a Patreon set up for that. Craftyandy. Alright, so let's get into this goddamn video here. So Tom Dark, I don't know much about Tom Dark, other than he makes mainly drama stuff. Or Turkey Tom, I guess that's another thing about him. Or another alternative persona. Seems to be pretty popular. Seems like he likes rag on some selective furries now and then. Neat. One thing I do know, actually, is that he's mainly kind of like a centrist. Which is another way of saying that you're so privileged that no matter what politics come out, you're likely not going to get affected by them. Unless you're, like, impoverished, you're pretty much okay, no matter what happens. But for some reason, people like to take that, like, Howard's route of just, like, not having a principled stance on anything, I guess. That's just how it goes. So anyways, let's check this out. The Furry Extremists. Is my computer making any noise? Unless you're, like, impoverished, pretty much okay, no matter what happens. For some reason, people... Ain't too bad, I guess. I just bring my mic closer and turn down the sensitivity, I guess. Anywho, Furry Extremists.
The furry community is one of the oldest and largest subcultures to exist on the entire internet, and from an outside perspective, it's very easy to make the mistake of assuming they're a united group of people who share similar ideals and opinions. You know, the majority of furries are pretty left-wing people. They're pretty socially progressive guys. They're not trying to rile up anyone. They're really not right-wing. It's pretty rare to see a right-wing furry. But when you do see them, it's like, holy shit, this guy's probably crazy.
Yeah, you think? And this guy looks a lot younger than I am. Nice collection in the background. Let's do a quick sound test here. You think? Alright. Should be good.
Because it's not like normal right wing. It's not even like kind of far right. It's like out there. And as with any community online, infighting and drama is a common occurrence in the fandom, with some committing actions so severe that they become infamous across the internet as a whole. Over the past decade,
and you get to cover a video on them.
More specifically, discourse centered around American politics has infiltrated every corner of the World Wide Web ever since, like the Trump election and Gamergate. Everything online is apparently political now. And
politics is everything. I mean, sorry to say, but not everything is inherently political, but politics is everything. It's how you decide how to do things. All art is political because it's a reflection or a reaction to the current society we live in. I don't understand this whole, like, let's not be political in any way, or, like, let's not care about what's happening in the world. It doesn't mean you canvass for a political party or a politician by saying that you're involved in politics. It doesn't mean you fucking suck the Trump dick or suck the Kamala dick or whatever. It just means that you're keeping up with what's happening in the world. Things outside your fucking control, things outside your power. It's still good to know these things so you don't end up going down rabbit holes of conspiracy theory and looking like a goddamn fucking loon or an idiot or both. Like, how much of this shit about, how much of this anti-trans shit is just related to just complete and utter willful ignorance? Or anti-immigrant shit, or tariffs. I love all these collections of videos of people not understanding how fucking tariffs work. I didn't exactly know what tariffs, how they worked either, so I looked in how they worked. You know? I didn't fucking put them on blast simply because one side's doing them. Hello, Bandit. Hey, Bandit. And Ali. Hello, Ali. Ali? Is that how I say it, Ali? We'll go with Ali. Furry's extremist.
And so it should come as no surprise that arguments regarding the subject also happen with furries. While the vast majority of furries enjoy a non-political existence,
wrong spot.
free from political controversy at least, there are instances that have occurred where the political divide between the fandom's members have clashed and it's become a forefront of discussion and debate. So today we'll be discussing one of the most infamous instances of this occurring and how these differences caused a domino effect that resulted in the collapse of an entire convention, revealing the dark past of multiple community members, and once again putting furries in the crosshairs of the mainstream media for all the wrong reasons. But before we delve into the major players in this story and the eventual fallout, we have to go back to the beginning. In the early 2000s, as furries began to slowly grow in number, a small group of individuals located in the Denver, Colorado area decided they would create a convention in order to accommodate the growing furry population in the state. This new convention, dubbed Rocky Mountain FurCon, was organized by a group known as the Mid-America Anthropomorphics and Arts Corporation, and was first scheduled to take place in 2006.
This is a long video.
But subsequently moved to 2007 due to potential scheduling conflicts with Anthropocon, which is
yeah, I know about Rocky Mountain FurCon. So
another furry convention that an individual known as Kahuki Leiru, but he would step down the following year with another individual named Soren Cat taking over. Look, I know my name is Turkey Tom, but like these furry names are a little out of control. Like, can't you just be like Blue Dog or some shit? Do you have to be?
You'd be so generic. You'd be out fucking like. He'd be so. I know like 3 skies. There's got to be at least a dozen different bandits out there. I'm sure there's Andys walking around somewhere too. But whatever.
Whatever this is. I mean, Blue Fault for all their faults. Like memorable, easy to pronounce name for Westerners. What the fuck is Kahuki Leiru? What's going on, big guy? From the very beginning, Rocky Mountain FurCon was plagued with issues. The first convention failed to garner enough people to fulfill the block requirement. East Colorado area to gather, eventually reaching attendance of over 1,500 people at its peak. For almost a decade, the convention would avoid major controversy. But little did they know that the storm was brewing that would utterly destroy not only the convention itself, but bring to light some of the
all right, I get it. It's a furry convention.
Members, with the
get to the juicy bit.
Originating with the creation of an infamous furry group known as the Furry Raiders.
All right.
At the same time that the Rocky Mountain FurCon was finding its footing, another group.
I mean, I did do an interview with Dio Tazdevil and Furry Foxler, so maybe I'll go over that. Do a little reflection on that. It's been a while.
of furries was
I know I'm in
beginning to
here
take shape.
somewhere.
In the late 2000s, a Second Life group was founded and spearheaded by an individual named Lee Allen Miller, who went by the username StarFoxAceFox. Over time, the group would grow in size and begin to attract more and more furries. Notably, in 2016, Foxler bought out 100 seats in a theater for the movie Zootopia and handed out tickets for free, which led to the group garnering even more support. If you look at the mission statement on their website, it reads, "We are committed to upholding the values of free expression within the furry community by providing an open and welcoming organization free of exclusion and prejudice based on race, sex, creed, gender, identity, sexual orientation, or political affiliation." From an outside perspective, this seems like a stereotypical group of furries who are only interested in having a good time. So why then is such a seemingly innocuous group so controversial to the point that people call them Nazis every time they're brought up in conversation? Well, to understand that, you gotta look further into their logo. On its own, it's fairly innocuous, simply being a paw print on a white circular background. However, the logo is often paired with an armband that's worn by many members of the furry community.
It's specifically red and black.
While the armbands now come in different colors, the first and most common of them is red, with art created for the group also depicting the logo on a red background. Many believe this is a deliberate attempt to mirror the armbands worn by Wehrmacht soldiers, as well as the, the N-word flag. Not that N-word, the other N-word. As the group
Well, the problem was, too, is that they decided to just lean into it. When people started accusing them of it, they were just like, yeah, sure, that's what I am. That's from what I gather, at least.
The group began to grow, so too did the criticism, with most of the controversy surrounding their leader, StarFoxAceFox, who also goes by the name of Foxler Nightfire. Foxler is possibly one of the most controversial and hated individuals in the furry fandom for a number of reasons. As he became more notable, many individuals started to dig deeper into his past, and they began to uncover extremely alarming posts that set off multiple red flags. To
find
start
some posts.
Archives of a live journal made by Foxler from 2005 tell the story of an online romantic relationship he had with a 13-year-old girl, while admitting in the same paragraph that he was also 18 years of age. Yikes, Scoob! I'm 18 years old. Now, Hannah and all her friends knew I was
Let me just put this on the internet for everybody to read and judge on.
18, and they didn't mind at all, so well, bro, took it to her mother that got mad and talked with Hannah, so that sucked. After waiting for 4 hours, she came back all upset, crying a bit about how she doesn't want to lose me, and her mother put this Yahoo thing on her computer to make sure she wasn't talking to me, so I helped her get it off, and she said,
I have it right here.
I love talking to you. I never want to go because you are the sweetest guy ever. And I was almost in shock hearing this from her. Her friend said the same thing when I was talking to her, and they both like me, but when she said that,
yeah, we'll get into that.
I knew she wanted more. I'm like, I got my sweetie Chantel here, and Hannah, only 13, cries. So this guy is like, he's kind of a fucking weirdo, right? I think that's obvious here, right? Member of the LCP.
Unlike me, I'm just normal.
In addition to this, users uncovered archives of a Beast Forum profile with the same username as him, which strangely enough managed to get him banned from the site. For those of you who are unaware and haven't been delving in like the worst, most disgusting aspects of the furry community.
Alright, yep, I already know what that is.
As the name implies. This, combined with various odd social media posts where he talks about trapping children and commenting on his female dog not being able to feel pleasure after getting spayed, has resulted in many individuals online characterizing him as a degenerate freak, and rightfully so, because he is one. It should be noted that Foxler has denied these accusations over the years, but this has done very little to quell the criticism against him, and despite the severity of these claims, most people within the furry fandom are aware of his existence, not because of his Beast Forum stuff, because that's like a lot of furries, unfortunately, but instead due to his alleged ties to Nazism. One of the most obvious indicators of this is his name. Many believe it to be a combination of the words Fox and Hitler. Foxler, when confronted with this, would later claim that to be false, stating it was actually a combination of the word Fox and his last name, Miller. In addition to this was, of course, the iconography that was mentioned before, and in response to that, Miller said he was completely unfamiliar with N-word symbolism when he chose the logo for the Furry Raiders, and it was impossible for him to be a true N-word due to him being half Thai. If you guys know anything about the alt-right, a lot of them are not white, so it doesn't really matter. That doesn't really mean anything. And
nope, they don't care as long as you're like for traditionalism and for ethno-states. That's why they're all for all that shit going on in Israel right now. Like some of them like to pretend they're against it, but ultimately they're for the idea of them having their own little ethno-state. That's why they can be as. That's why you have some of these Nazis that are just outright Zionists and not giving a shit because they hate Muslims too.
Over time, multiple other separate instances have led to a significant
and Palestinians
of the furry fandom labeling him as far-right. Foxler has been incredibly forthright about his dislike for SJWs, based, and left-wing individuals.
Shut up.
in general, getting into countless arguments with people on Twitter about the issue. This in and of itself isn't really unusual, and it's not a sign of him being a Nazi or even really right-wing in any way. However, there are multiple instances where he expresses familiarity with the online right that put some of these political posts in a different light. Let's go through a brief rundown of some of his most infamous escapades, and you guys can decide for yourself. And before I get into this, I just want to say, I don't really care if he's far-right or not. I don't really care if he's right-wing. You guys know I have right-wing friends. I don't really give a shit. I just...
Again, centrist bullshit. Like, oh, politics don't affect me, therefore I don't give a shit. It's like when Joe Rogan had that interview with Ben Shapiro. Joe Rogan was for gay marriage, Ben Shapiro was not. And they both went back and forth, and then Ben chimes in and says, isn't it nice that we just have this pleasant conversation without getting angry or yelling at each other? It's like, yeah, of course, because no matter what happens, you two are fine. If gay marriage is legalized, Ben Shapiro's fine. If it's not legalized, Joe Rogan will still be fine. They're not affected either way. So, yeah, that's... Sorry if it's hard for me to be friends with someone who just thinks I am less than and I don't deserve the same opportunities or rights as another person. Like, why would I entertain someone like that? It makes no sense. Almost be like a good setup for me just to be plotted against and taken out at some point.
I think it's interesting that there's somebody in the furry fandom, which is like ostensibly a pretty like left-wing, progressive, accepting movement, that is also like somehow a far-right dude. Like that's a pretty interesting kind of, you know, dichotomy we've got going here. Kind of a juxtaposition, kind of a silly one at that. In 2012, he made a forum post where he can be seen self-identifying as a Furry, or, I mean, you guys can kind of guess what that means, I think. Later on in 2014, he would make a comment on a YouTube video of a Hitler speech where he explicitly stated that he stood with Hitler and the German people, and there's also a screenshot of another YouTube comment where he said he hated black people and supported the KKK, and that surfaced on Twitter. Comment where he said he hated...
Let me see that. Whoop. Sorry, that's going to blow it up on the other screen. I hate black people. I would rally... Man, what is fucking fried JPEG here? I hate black people. I would really rally. If black guy was in fursuit, then I'm ready for some love taps. Race doesn't matter when you're a furry. Huh? I would rally for it any day. Wait, I hate black people. I would rally for it any day. If black guy was in fursuit, then I'm ready for some love taps. Race don't matter when you're a furry.
KKK. And that's...
okay. So he's okay with them as long as they're in a fursuit, I guess.
Surfaced on Twitter, with his defense being that he was tired and not in the right state of mind at the time. When you're...
Oh my god. The fucking Ambien did it, guys. The fucking Ambien.
So tired that you become racist. I understand. In 2016, he was ejected from a furry-oriented club due to his refusal to stop wearing his paw print armband, and he had a physical confrontation with another patron as a result of an image of him doing a Sieg Heil while in his fursuit, and that appeared online, further damaging his reputation, obviously. And furries are, like, generally pretty, like, even among, like, online communities, they're pretty left-wing, so obviously they're not gonna be cool with that. Even joking about stuff like that, they're totally against it. He also made this rather infamous tweet directed towards Richard Spencer, which many interpreted as an implicit endorsement of his ideals due to him asking for Spencer's approval. In another instance, he would...
As long as you keep saying it's a joke, guys, right?
Call himself the Hitler of the furry fandom, a quote that many of his detractors have used to their advantage because why wouldn't they? In addition, in a video he posted on his YouTube channel,
what else would you do? Like if he's saying that, like why would you be curious? Like why are you saying that? Oh, because there's people who accuse me of being Nazi, so I just lean into it for the memes, for the laughs, just for the shits and gigs. Like, you know, people lose their jobs over this shit.
A neo-Nazi group in order to properly understand what the ideology was all about, though he admitted he was rejected due to his mixed heritage and because of the fact he was a furry.
And I decided to actually get involved with some neo-Nazi groups to see how they were like. You know, can't judge people right away.
I mean, they're just not, just, you know, they're neo-Nazis, but, you know, you can't just judge them all the same, and they're just collectively together under the same ideas, that there's one types of people, that there's a race, that race exists, and that some are better than others. But you can't judge them unless you get to know them first. Right. Sure thing, buddy.
Gotta go in there and get your hands dirty. Well, your paws dirty. Whoops. And, you know, I signed up for the little forum online, paid my $25 membership. And,
oh my god.
And they wanted me to show
your penis?
That I was faithful to Nazism. So I made some comments on YouTube to show this loyalty based under what people express.
You do it under a pseudonym?
They asked me a few questions. The first one was, are you white? I'm not white. I'm a mutt, if anybody doesn't know that. I'm part Thai and part German. After that occurred, they also asked me a few other questions, like what this whole furry thing was about. And I said to them, I dress up as an animal. And
riveting.
You know, I find anthropomorphics hot. And then they were like, get the fuck out.
Guys, the furries are not welcome to the clan meetup. Let it be known. They're not letting them in, okay? The clan...
Yeah.
My thing, and you go do your thing.
All of these incidents, along with quite a few others, resulted in Foxler being a pretty controversial figure within the furry space. By extension, this made every other member of the group controversial just by association. Screenshots...
That's why I don't get involved with groups. You know, fandom was one thing, like you can't stop someone from liking something, whether it's baseball or furry or Star Trek. Well, once you get involved in like little clubs and little groups, you gotta start paying attention to what the rules are and what kind of people they let in. Yeah, I was tempted after interviewing Foxler and Dio and all that. I was tempted to look into it a little bit, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do groups. I kind of like having a circle of friends and doing my own thing, you know.
Members in their Telegram chat posting imagery
and not being tied down with whatever fucking group rules or attire they want you to have or come as or whatever.
Also made the rounds online, and that resulted in many within the furry community rejecting and ostracizing the furry raiders under the presumption that all of the members held far-right beliefs. This definitely wasn't helped by the fact that others who associated with the group started to garner their own infamy as well. As an example, a furry known as Diesel Raccoon, who is a known associate of the furry raiders,
oh, Diesel,
for making controversial statements on Twitter. In 2015, he made this tweet where he talks about feeling nervous at Walmart.
Is it wrong for me to feel just a bit nervous when I'm at Walmart late at night surrounded by all black people? I'm not racist. Man, why would you just go out and ask the internet that? There's just so many fucking things running in my head that I probably can't repeat right now. All these black people are making me nervous. Oh my goodness.
At night while surrounded by black people.
Let's see. I'd say I feel nervous when I'm at Walmart late at night, no matter who I'm surrounded by. Walmart has that effect on me. I just feel like they're all watching me. One more reason to carry my gun. She's looking for an excuse to use your fucking gun. Like, you do know, like, the chances of you being mugged in a Walmart? If anything, someone's gonna be more likely to lift something from Walmart than lift your fucking wallet. Especially when they're surrounded by fucking fucking cameras. And they usually have a security guard at one of the entrances or on hand. Damn, man.
And in the replies, he stated it was just another reason to carry a gun. Later on, he would also come under fire after a friend of his replied in a tweet referencing the then recent march on Capitol Hill, saying, "A coup was attempted to overthrow the government and install a dictator as the leader of this country." Diesel ended up replying, "I like you deeply as a friend, and I'm going to choose to not even respond to you."
That is a response. This in itself is a response.
Inflates you, making you big and round. Oh my god. Inflates you, making you big and
Yeah, we're getting some roleplay.
This
Go.
exchange would go viral on Twitter soon after, because why wouldn't it? Interestingly, years later, Diesel would denounce the furry raiders due to alleged zoophilia and clarify that he didn't support the January 6th attack on the Capitol, though it should be
every furry's favorite virtue signal, the zoophilia stuff. When all else fails, you can point to zoophilia and be like, "That bad, me good now."
Noted he was still associated with the furry raiders at the start of their largest controversies. Now, incidents like this would really paint the furry raiders in a negative light and resulted in them being labeled a far-right group by their critics and kind of pushed out by the furry community. And when the furry community isn't...
I mean... Oh, let's see. Let's get into what's going on here. Oh, what else? What else can I pull up? Alright, you continue on. I'm gonna pull up some shit.
There might be something wrong with you. There might be something going on, right? I think we can agree with that. It should be noted that the furry raiders themselves have contested this numerous times, and as mentioned before, still to this day they insist they're a group founded on equality and not hatred or bigotry.
Well, if they said that, then it'd be over. So of course they're not gonna fucking say that.
Rebuttals fell on deaf ears, however, as the raiders would soon enter into a larger controversy that would result in their niche group becoming one of the most infamous sects in the furry community. At this point, they were already hated. They would become absolutely fucking despised very soon. In 2016, as the Rocky Mountain FurCon geared up for its next big event, the organization
this is where I get involved.
Hotel rooms to accommodate attendees. The furry raiders took notice, and they decided to pull together their money to book 25% of the rooms available at the hotel before room blocks were even officially open to the public. This was supposedly done in order to allow easier access to the convention by their members to secure, like, they'd have a spot at the convention basically. Now, this move initially angered and upset a lot of furries, as they saw it as sort of a power grab and an attempt by the furry raiders to block out members who were critical of them from attending the convention. This sentiment was also seemingly shared by the RMFC organizers, who contacted the raiders directly and attempted to convince them to release their hold on said rooms. After allegedly failing to comply, a convention organizer would make a post on social media addressing the situation, where he stated,
I mean, if they paid for the rooms...
Despite direct communications with them, the Denver-based group known as the Furry Raiders declined to drop their reservations at the Crown Plaza. We have exhausted all of the means that we have to officially try to get them to release the rooms, but we're sorry to say that neither the convention nor the hotel currently have policies in place to prevent this behavior, though we strongly disapprove of it. This led to a big wave of backlash towards the Raiders, who seemed to be unwilling to budge from their position. However, on April 14th, 2016, it was publicly announced that they had agreed to relinquish the 25% of the rooms after discussing the issue with RMFC staff, so the convention itself released a correction soon after, basically thanking them. In that statement, we inferred that the Furry Raiders had refused to release the rooms in the room block. This statement was not entirely accurate. At the time, the Furry Raiders had stated that the rooms in the block had been given to members and friends, and from that, we infer they were refusing to release any of the rooms they had reserved. Since this statement, the Furry Raiders have begun to cancel some of the unused rooms in their reservation, and have stated that they will continue.
Alright, I can sum this up. So yeah, they released the rooms, a bunch of people still were mad, a bunch of threats got thrown around, and then the hotel staff, the hotel owners were like, you need to bring in private security and pay for it, or you can't run this convention. And like, everything fell apart, and the convention fell apart, and the convention pretty much ended.
You know, they're good guys, all right? All right, leave Jimmy alone. One of the most notable of these individuals was a man who went by the name 2, who you most likely actually know as the Ranting Griffin.
I wonder if he's still
He was
around.
a self-described furry comedian who had, in the past, performed at some of the largest furry conventions and was well known within the fandom. He himself had been the subject of controversy over time due to his vocal opposition to the social justice movement, and because of some jokes he had previously made in rant videos he posted on his YouTube channel, which probably made it easier for him to empathize with the plight of the furry raiders, because he's a controversial guy, they're controversial, he's anti-PC, they're anti-PC, so they're like, okay, we're kind of the same guy, right? Let's join forces a little bit.
Not the same thing.
Side note, 2 is an individual whose history is extensive and worthy of its own video, honestly, but he's most notable in this instance for his commentary on topics relating to the furry raiders, and therefore his other unrelated controversies won't be put into focus here, but I might do a video in the future about him because he's an interesting dude. Now, he would release a rant on April 17th, 2016 titled Bird Box Number 1 Furry Raiders, where he discussed the entire...
Man, yeah, 2's about as popular as I am right now. 100 views, 10 views. Yep, before he's getting like hundreds of thousands. I guess, well, he's doing what every other person does whenever they're like done doing things, I guess. It's just doing live streams of video games and clips, and that seems to be it. I'll just put this right here. Yep. So popular. 17 years ago, 300,000, 60,000. And then he decided to go like the fucking weird anti-trans shit a little bit. And I guess he never looked back. Yeah, 398. Yep. And now he's pulling in numbers like I do. Interesting.
Incident and summarize some of the available information about the controversy, with his conclusion being that furries within the community were overreacting to the situation. There were those in the community who started to become suspicious about the association between the Raiders and the RMFC staff. Many believe that because the convention refused to ban the Raiders from the event as a whole, that they were actually sympathetic to the Raiders and therefore their ideas and whatever they may be.
Dayland, hello.
Of course, was only speculation, as with many of their controversies. It was just kind of like, they have the wrong vibe, you know. So the incident would soon be forgotten about as people began to move on with their lives. The event would still be remembered by far-left individuals within the community who refused to let the controversy go and maintained a level of disgust and hatred for the group as a whole, and that would come to...
I mean, you can't assume that they're far left. They just... I think they're mostly just people that don't like Nazis. Or just don't like the fucking, you know, the negative attitudes or the fucking, I don't know. It varies because they let anyone in the group, so you're gonna get all kinds of all shapes and sizes.
2017, a leftist furry made a tweet saying, "Oh yeah, furry raiders are a bunch of N-word MFs too, reminder, etc." To which another left-wing furry named Dio Taz Devil replied, "Can't wait to punch these Nazis." Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of punching. Furries are known for being tough and strong and good at fighting. Another user named Olivia jumped in and stated, "Watching..."
Hold on. You on that one? Okay. Just making sure. I mean, if you're in fursuit, it's one thing. Let's see. Oh, I thought I could pull up something quick. Looks like I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that.
You get shot by someone defending themselves from unprovoked assault will be far more entertaining. At this point, another user jumped into the conversation, asking whether the person who had initially replied intended on bringing a gun to the convention, to which they would respond by stating, "Sure hope you're not planning on attacking innocent folks. I fully support legal concealed carry," to which Dio, the individual who had said they wanted to punch Nazis, asked, "Are you threatening to bring a gun to RMFC?" And that's where the conversation ended. Now, I'd like to take a moment here to clarify some things about the dog.
I mean, I don't care if anyone brings a gun anywhere, as long as it, you know, as long as they use gun etiquette and you know, keep it concealed and you know, follow the gun safety protocols, that sort of thing. That's just me, though.
The actual writing staff consists of only 2 people, Pacho Fur and Pup Matthias, and many of the articles covering this situation are written by Pacho Fur. This means that many of the articles on the website are biased and slanted in a left-wing direction. This doesn't necessarily delegitimize some of the points and opinions asserted in these articles, but from an outsider's perspective, they should be viewed as more think pieces giving one single perspective about the incident, as opposed to like de facto, unbiased views of events than one would normally expect from a traditional news site, because these are really like editorials. It's really an opinion piece. It's more of a blog.
Yeah, I get how that works.
Take them at their word. Well, things took a pretty unexpected turn when Dio Taz Devil received a cease and desist letter from someone identifying themselves as Kahuki. The content.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is the part where I got to cover most of it.
This legal notice were, to put it mildly,
it was like some weird fucking letter that had no legal grounds. All right.
Kendall Emery, which led to a shocking revelation that Kendall was listed in a sex offender registry, charged with a felony for criminal contact with a minor. This shed light on his history, suggesting that...
My understanding, too, is just it was out of, like, exposure or some shit. I don't know all of the fine details on it, but it wasn't that serious. If it was that serious, mandatory 20 years, so he wouldn't be out.
He had previously held the position of chairman, but had stepped down in 2008 due
I think it was like some kind of accidental exposure or some shit.
the severity of the charges. Speculations arose that the furry board staff might have known about his criminal background, yet allowed him to remain active within the community. And this is actually a common problem in the furry community. There's a decent amount of incidents like this. Amidst the escalating drama, the convention's leadership declared
if you say so.
of RMFC, citing
I mean, if you have a criminal record, are you just not allowed to do anything ever again?
heightened security costs
I don't get that.
extensively linked to Dio's initial threat. Last month, we were faced with a sudden and drastic increase in security costs, amounting to more than a third of our entire existing operating budget. This cost increase stemmed directly from the very public threats of violence against one another by members of this community, as well as the negative backlash from the misinformation spread about the convention, its staff, and attendees. Therefore, Rocky Mountain FurCon 2017 is officially canceled. I will no longer continue to subject my staff and our community to the lies, hate, violence, and slander that was disseminated. A board member named Rodney Brian Graff, who went by the moniker
where the hell was I?
also claimed that the security fees would have amounted to a staggering $22,000.
Supposed to be in this video, right?
Notably, Scorch ardently defended Kendall and downplayed the severity of his conviction, wrongly asserting that it would be considered a misdemeanor today. The controversy continued when the dog patch
well, the sad thing about a misdemeanor is that if it's a sex offense, you go on the registry anyways. Yeah, someone's yeah. I think open carry is pretty fucking stupid to do too, because like, all it does is just make you a target. That's why I got my concealed carry license. Even though you don't need it in Ohio, you need it for other states, and it's just better just to have it. So I went through the classes, and I got my certification.
Press, an online platform covering furry news, published a series of articles that accused the furry raiders of having N-word affiliations, speculating about the RMFC board's ties to the furry raiders, and revisited allegations of abuse against Kendall.
Say that for
These
next.
articles ignited a firestorm of reactions within the community. Predictably, opinions within the furry community became divided. The furry raiders faced significant backlash, while anti-social justice warrior furries directed their ire towards Dio. In response to the mounting pressure, Dio claimed that her initial threat was actually just a joke, and she never actually wanted to attend the convention, much less bring a firearm there or anything like that. Amidst the chaos, a faction of furries sympathetic to the furry raiders redirected blame towards Dio. They asserted that she had been responsible for contacting the hotel and Denver police, resulting in the con's cancellation. Dio refuted these claims on her Twitter account, further fueling the ongoing
you gotta love the assumptions, like
controversy, and it just kind of snowballed from there, right? The furries getting a convention canceled is like, you know, a concert goer getting their like one concert they go to a year canceled, or like a music festival canceled. Like, furries love these conventions. This is where they go and do drugs and party and stick it in each other's butts and meet other furries. Like, this is like the highlight of their fucking year. And so for something like this to happen is extremely upsetting to them. As the narrative expanded, scrutiny towards the Mid-America Anthropomorphic
speed it up a little bit,
or MAAAC, also known as wait, is that mid? Mid? Skibbity, you're so skibbity, you're so phantom tox. Well, anyway, the nonprofit organization responsible for organizing
could have gone without that.
MAAAC, and it came to light they had failed to file tax returns from 2008 to 2015, leading to the revocation of their tax exemption status in 2011. This obviously raised questions about the organization's financial practices and transparency, and as people kept digging, a peculiar detail emerged. Kendall had signed the cease and desist with a red thumbprint, prompting speculation that he might be a sovereign citizen. Now, for those of you who are unaware, sovereign citizens is basically like a movement that dates back to the early 90s, in which people have convinced themselves that they are above the law, and that by giving someone money, they can learn the magical words that will free them from the justice system, so they don't have to pay taxes, listen to police officers, or even go to jail. Some of my favorite videos of these guys are videos where they'll be like pulled over for speeding or something, and the cop will say,
yeah, I know how sovereign citizens work. The sovereign citizens are people who think they have their own like laws that they can follow and no one else has to follow. So what we got here? Yeah, I know how that works.
Those criminal charges was definitely a sovereign citizen. Given Scorch's close association with Kendall, this theory gained a lot of credibility. Now, this isn't the end of this story, and eventually people discovered that Kahuki and Scorch hosted parties at their house where they would all watch adult videos together. In the description for the event, it stated that teenagers under the age of 18 are encouraged to come and watch with them, but it's unknown if any actually showed up. But
that's not a... Are you fucking kidding me?
But even the intention, I'd say, is enough to call them, you know, gross. Another furry gives an anonymous retelling of what their experience with Scorch was like after moving in with him. They said, I moved in with Scorch because I was a dumbass, mentally ill, and vulnerable person looking for answers and mad at my parents. I offered to be his housekeeper for food and board, essentially. So, like, I moved into his house, and I have to agree to be re-educated.
So Scorch was one of the chairmen of Rocky Mountain FurCon. Okay.
Being a dumbass stoner, vulnerable to suggestion and open to conspiracy theories at the time, I was like, I don't know, seems legit. Eventually, he starts showing me hour-long videos about how everything is a lie, how corporate shells are made in people's names, and how there's like thousands of dollars for everyone to claim. At this point, I'm kind of terrified and feel a bit stuck. I finally, at long last, swallow my damn pride and call my mom and tell her everything that was going on. She
Yeah. Oh yeah, sovereign citizens are fucking nuts.
was horrified. We picked a day he would be working out, and she came in a frenzy, and we packed up all my shit before he would get back.
I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
So I guess this guy believes that like Scorch is like a crazy conspiracy theorist, sovereign citizen type guy, and he just wanted to get out of there. He felt like he was kind of in too deep at that point, you know. In the midst of all this controversy, well-known figures within the furry community, such as the Ranting Griffin and others, took to YouTube to defend the furry raiders and criticize Dio. The Ranting Griffin's defense of the furry raiders included downplaying Kendall's allegations and implying they were not as severe as initially.
That's where I got me the impression, so...
portrayed, based on Scorch's dubious claim that the charges would only be considered a misdemeanor today, which, like, you still had unlawful contact with a minor, right? Like, that's still bad. The following is an explanation of why his analysis of the criminal charges is very wrong.
Dio calls him a child rapist repeatedly, but the charge is criminal sexual contact with a minor, which could mean one of 24 different fucking things, up to and including consensual sex with someone under 18. It's a 25-year-old charge, so it happened when he was 30, even though they're showing
25 years ago?
him here looking like a creepy old man. That's pretty disingenuous, I think. And
well, if you're on the registry, you're required to, like, keep a photo of yourself, like, I think, every several months or some shit. Depends on the state.
He's telling people that he's a child rapist because if anyone says anything in his defense, then they'll be supporting child rape. Which I'm sure is exactly what's going to happen to me now, even though if he was a child rapist, it would have been listed in his charges as sexual assault, like in this example, and not criminal contact with a minor. And in fact, people who are close to him say that...
And criminal contact could mean, that could have just been a reduced charge, too, if he pleaded. Like, if he pleaded guilty, they could have reduced it, whatever it might have been. That's always an issue, too.
There was no sexual intercourse at all.
Now, it's important to clarify that these claims are not entirely accurate. The crime that Kendall was convicted of is clearly labeled as criminal sexual contact with a minor in the state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
On his registry profile, because this guy is on the registry. He's listed there. If you look up with this,
there's children on the registry, so I have my problems with that, but ultimately, though, it could be a number of things like that.
Means it clearly states criminal contact of a minor is the unlawful and intentional touching of or applying force to the intimate parts of a minor, or the unlawful and intentional causing of a minor to touch one's intimate parts. While there have been changes to the statute over the years, every one of the changes is purely aesthetic and was done to make the legislation more concise and easier to understand. It had absolutely nothing to do with the severity of the crime. The charges for this are just as severe today as they were in 1993. While the exact specifics of the situation are unknown, the crime he was convicted of 100% involved physical contact with a minor. Now, I want to make it clear that I'm in no way attempting to imply that these individuals are supportive of this kind of behavior, as they were simply relaying information they thought was accurate, but that still doesn't mean their commentary isn't deserving of scrutiny. Like, they did get this wrong. This guy did do something really bad. The Ranting Griffin's argument is that Kendall isn't a literal child rapist because it isn't explicitly listed on his registry profile, and that's, like, obviously a very flawed argument, because if you look at the individual profile of the other man he shows in the video, you can see that his crime took place in Colorado, not New Mexico, as is listed on SA on a child F4, meaning that the crime was a class 4 felony. If you look up what this means in Colorado law, you'll see that it refers to the engagement of a child under 15. Now, this particular legal website that's dedicated...
What connection did that child have to him, too? Like...
The Colorado law also points out that this is the underage equivalent of Colorado's unlawful contact law, meaning that this individual committed almost the exact same crime that Kendall did. Regardless of how Kendall went about it, he still physically assaulted a minor in a way that resulted in him getting a felony, meaning the crime was severe and disgusting either way. Like, you can't downplay this. I don't know why this person is so obsessed with, like, trying to downplay what this guy did. It's obvious what he did. We know what he did. Like, just drop this guy. Why do you need to defend him anymore? He's a freak. Trying to make it an argument purely based on semantics and brushing off the severity of the allegations and essentially downplaying them is an incredibly irresponsible way to go about anything, to go about using your platform, right? If there was no conviction and it was all speculation with no definitive proof, then of course that would be different, but his criminal record does not...
And again, it could be worse than that, too, because you can always plead your case down sometimes.
I mean, this is the fucking law.
Invincible Dragon, welcome.
He did. Now, one argument you could make is about whether or not Kendall's conviction was relevant to the collapse of RMFC, or if it was relevant in criticism of the furry
it depends what. Well, it depends what the kid did, but you know, there's people as young as 8 that were placed on the registry, and they're still on it for the rest of their life. So I don't know. Like 25% of the people on the registry are like under 18. Well, that were placed on it at least. That's just it's someone who's 8 is not capable of committing the same damage as a fucking adult, you know.
Raiders, but at least in my opinion, the notion that a sex offender was crucial in the founding of the convention and was at least somewhat involved with the organizers is more than enough to permanently tarnish the name of.
And that's not an exaggeration. The youngest person I believe is 8.
Organization, whether they were actually running the convention or not. At the end of the day, the claim from Scorch that this was just a small incident or that the crime would be considered a misdemeanor today is categorically false and potentially a malicious attempt to spread misinformation about the case to.
And some of them were just teenagers having sex, and then like circumstances led them to be placed on the registry because they signed a paper saying that they'd be let go if they did. That usual bit.
Downplay it. I mean, in my opinion, that's definitely what it was. Returning.
But you know, I'm not the legal expert, and I don't get to decide on those things.
From the shadows of Hyperborea, Foxler would agree to do an interview.
There I am.
With another.
God damn, 6 years ago, man.
Furry YouTuber, to which he vehemently denied the allegations levied against him.
Alright, let's say this again.
Opinion, that's definitely what it was. Malicious attempt to spread misinformation about the case to downplay it. I mean, in my opinion, that's definitely what it was. Returning from the shadows of Hyperborea, Foxler would agree to do an interview with another furry YouTuber, to which he vehemently denied the allegation.
Hey, come on, I'm just a YouTuber. I would swear I wear the furry label because it's a fandom. Come on, I'm an artist who's a furry.
Levied against him, asserting that he had not engaged in the actions attributed to him. Particularly, he refuted the notion that the armband, which had been widely criticized for its resemblance, was conceived with such intentions. Foxler attributed the armband's origin to the aforementioned Second Life. According to him, this group was responsible for its inception, and any perceived resemblance to any historical symbols was purely coincidental. Any other criticism he had received was also denied by him in any way, and he and the interviewer seemed to almost be friends with how friendly they were in the interview. It wasn't really much of a scathing thing.
Why are you taking this and saying, "Oh, I'm an actual Nazi"?
Yeah. Because I wasn't planning on coming at him like with a fucking agenda, I guess. I don't know. Other than just like to have him say his piece. And because of my inexperience, that's just how it goes. I'm not, I wasn't trying to be Bill O'Reilly or some other fucking talking hen pundit. God damn that fucking hair. God.
See that?
Oh God, I hate that fucking hair.
That you're supposed to hate gay people, you're supposed to hate black people, but yet, you know, yeah, you're not. You don't hate black people, and you don't hate gay people. So go figure.
No, my mate's he's black, and I forget him. So I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Now, Soren Cat, the
cool. Was that my cameo? Yeah, that's the first interaction with Foxler, and that's pretty much been my only interaction.
Person serving as the head of the convention also stepped into the spotlight. In an interview with the Dogpatch Press, he echoed a sentiment that had become a recurrent theme throughout the controversy. He cited security costs as the primary factor leading to the closure of the convention. When confronted with inquiries about the furry raiders, he expressed a deliberate effort to distance himself from the group and their members. He conveyed a desire to avoid interactions with them and suggested that their initial goals might have been corrupted by a small faction within their ranks, and the greater organization may not be that bad. He said that if their intentions were genuinely community-oriented, they would gracefully withdraw from the scene instead of making this big stink for the convention and causing all these issues, right? I really try not to think about them or interact with them or their members right now. I think that whatever it was they set out to do originally has been corrupted by a handful of bad apples, and if they really wanted to do something for the community, they would bow out gracefully. Yet, as Soren Cat attempted to detach himself from the furry raiders, the controversy's waves continued to spread. The narrative of Nazi furries was getting bigger and bigger, and it began to really take root within the mainstream media. Notably, outlets like the Rolling Stone and the Daily Beast picked up on
and then people fucking ran with it
the story
to the point where they run their own convention.
Unexpected spotlight. The once contained controversy had now spilled into the broader public consciousness, casting the entire situation as a political struggle within the fandom. Rolling Stone, of course, interviewed Foxler and ended the article with Miller, who remains perhaps one of the most polarizing figures of the
Others find it fun, others find it spiritual, and the others go for sexual purposes. That's mainly most of them. People take on completely different characteristics, and sometimes I can't even tell who's in the suit. I'm the same person in and out of suit. Cool.
Furry community claims that he has been trolled, slandered, and harassed and threatened over the past year. From his computer, Miller watches the online bickering, and he is filled with shame.
Oh yeah, people are fucking brutal online.
FC crumble. For me, being a furry is a personal outlet to understand the real world, says Miller. Others find it fun, others find it spiritual, and others go for sexual purposes. People take on completely different characteristics.
Yeah, I just read that.
And infighting started to become common amongst almost every furry. Within the furry community itself, discussions and debates ensued as people grappled with assigning blame for the convention's failure. The blame game started with fervent supporters of managed to get in trouble again.
So what's this about Milo here? Because that's our next subject.
Surely this would like all die down and the furry raiders would just like disband and go their separate ways, right? No more controversy. The video's not over, so by 2019 the furry raiders somehow managed to get in trouble again, but this time at a different convention. Apparently Milo Yiannopoulos attempted to troll furries by attending Midwest.
Yeah, I remember that. He tried to attend, he got kicked out immediately, and he couldn't get in. Yep.
Rolling Stone again covered this minor and was subsequently booked.
Was this one?
Thing added to the list of reasons why they were outcased, but it wouldn't be the worst. Around the same time, Foxler would eventually get arrested in 2019 for something he allegedly did in 2015.
That's where this comes into play. Yes, Foxler getting arrested for possibly grooming a minor, who then later dropped the charges after being harassed by other members. Like, yeah, a scheme to frame a witness. Pretty fucked up. So yeah, this Jacob fella. Oh, let's see. Intimidate witness. There we go. New court documents shows Miller's inner circle tried to undermine the case by intimidating a witness. If the plan worked, the witness would be lured into a trap, framed, harassed, and extorted, and pulled out of the Miller's case. The plan proceeded until Dogpatch Press caught on. Investigation gathered evidence. Police were alerted, and 2 furry raiders were arrested in early 2020. Oh, wow. Police also received a forged document asking to cancel prosecution against Miller. It's a reminder of the very first Dogpatch Press hotline. Yes. So they tried to forge a document to drop the case. 8 felony charges. Jesus. Fucking genius, man. Court records show Cover posed as a 14 and 16-year-old boy to lure the witness. He was already on parole for sex offending while working out of Miller's house in Fort Collins. And you gotta love how fucking, like, these wannabe alt furries and shit are all, like, connected to heinous crimes in the past. It's almost like they're trying to overcompensate and cover their asses and trying to portray themselves as some kind of crusader. Alright, well, that was good. Nice to finally catch up on that shit.
As the court document put it, he was enticing. Fuck, right? Big shot. Furry raider undermined the case by intimidating a witness. If the
okay, it's basically whatever I just went over.
Of minors. He had allegedly posed as both a 14 and 16-year-old to manipulate and allure unsuspecting young individuals. After police intervention, he found himself facing no less than 8 felony charges. The furry community is one of the old individuals. After police intervention, and man, you could say revealing a disturbing pattern of behavior that raised questions about his intentions and.
So I wonder why he joins the fucking furry raiders, is so he can have like a little inner circle finally that will accept him no matter what your history is, no matter what your behavior is. Even if you have a pattern of unethical behavior, they'll take you in.
Actions with often.
Oh my god, what an idiot.
Urges, basically. Some other names you guys probably recognize are Tuscan, Snake Thing, who's also known as Levi. by Simmons, and who is a convicted pedophile. Kiro the Wolf, of course, I just mentioned. There's Kiro's Zoo sadist boyfriend, and even Spark Dalmatian, who is a multiple-time World Series winning convicted PD.
Oof.
File, and all these people were linked through different group chats and connections, and it was just a giant mess when the zoo sadism leaks came out. If you want more information on this, I've actually done a few videos on
Yeah, I know all about that. What else you got?
who had been banned from other conventions due to their actions or countered, suggesting announced that their original venue had become unavailable, attributing the change to the intolerant dark side of the anthro fandom. The
I think, yeah. The intolerant side, the ones that won't tolerate your fucking weird pedophile animal abuser rings. Okay.
Civil unrest due to the faction's actions was cited as the cause. Critics countered, suggesting Awoo's own staff may have contributed by engaging in online threats, including violent ones, and Awoo, why am I saying Awoo? The AWOO clarified that these contentious add to the already tainted reputation of furries over.
Alright, well, that was fun. Nice to know about the fur. A little more information on the Furry Extreme is out there, I guess. Are they doing anything new? Have they done anything new recently? Let's see. 7 years ago, 1 year ago, Queen. Let's see. Free for All 2023, 1 year ago. Podcast over 5 years ago. We'll get to your video right about now, actually. So basically, generic furry convention with like less than 100 people. Cool. Yes, it's so much better when you do the Queen song as your furry personas rather than just, you know, being able to sing and doing it yourself. I was thinking, like, yeah, that song would be so much better. Alright, what's this about? Video captures Portland police fatal shooting. Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave that for when, Alright, you know what? I know you can't stay around too long. All night, Dalen, and I know we probably got maybe like another hour or so, I'll do this one. Why not? It's only a minute. Portland police fatal shooting. What's this about? Let's just get some context. Filmed the police encounter on Southeast. That gives me no context. It's also age restricted. Let's not play too much of this. Alright, let's see the actual incident. And I'm going to try to pause it so the YouTube doesn't detect it. Alright, so she's scuffling around. Or he or she, I can't tell from here. And I heard the gunshot. Alright, who shot who?
Hey, you need help?
And that's how police do. What was this posted? There's no comments on this? 500,000 views. But no comments? No, that doesn't make any sense. Huh. Did they clear it? Or did they did they just enable comments like after so much time passed it doesn't matter now? Let's see. See if we find a story on this. I like to save this sort of thing for Michael Ringtail, but well, what do we got here? Unarmed man. Oh, killed armed man. Okay. Clear criminal charges. Domestic violence call, of course. fired a shot from a gun and then returned fire. Is it the same person? I can't tell. There's no pictures. That doesn't seem like the same incident. Oop, I want to get ahead of myself. Alright, let's get into this Milo interview. So Milo invited one of the furry raiders on for an interview. And this was on YouTube for the longest time, but they made it private. Thankfully, though, I downloaded it. Because I'm like, Let's see. Window capture. DLC. Give me a second here. Milo quizzes. There it is. What the hell's going on here? Why is it not? Oh, there we go. That was weird. Oh, good. We can make the audio separate. Okay. Whoopsie. Oh, I'll deal with that when I deal with it. Okay. Blow that up. So, Vera Nova, I do have some things on him that I pulled up. I think are of interest. Give me a second here. There we go. Where are ya? Son of a bitch. Here we go. Pride. I'm gonna zoom in on this. Oh, I gotta get that off. There we go. Oh, what kind of person is this guy? Pride is sick, twisted, and degenerate. 30 days out of the year when people with voyeurism and exhibitionist fetishes parade around in the streets to feel validated. Waving around rainbow flags. No thanks. Keep all that in the bedroom and off our public streets. Right, except, you know, have you ever seen Spring Break? Have you ever seen fucking Mardi Gras? People will show them your tits if you throw them some beads. If you want to, and he'll be like, "Oh, that's degenerate too," and it should be off our streets. Why? Why does it fucking affect you? Let adults be adults and have fun. If you don't like it, then don't leave your house. Proud Boys announced they're coming to MFF. They didn't because they're pussies. What else we got? Let's see if there's anyone else here related to him. Doesn't look like it. Let's see. Reports report about Averia, Norby, Astral. Oh, let's see what we got. Ooh, a telegram. It's just strictly the reporting of this guy. Yeah, there's nothing here. Yes, oh yes. I'm a fascist. So yes, fascist is just another form of government, according to him. This guy he's with right here, Cat Crusader, was he made a bunch of videos admitting to like molesting his cat, and then he deleted them after Encyclopedia Dramatica got a hold of them. So he's all sunshine and rainbows. What else we got? Hmm. Oh, those tweets are still around. But anyways, so I've everyone on Milo's show, so let's take a look at that. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. So, a couple years ago, Onion Nuggets did a gauntlet of furries that I gave them a bunch of videos for. Some of them they used. This is one of them. So keep in mind, these are like as close as you can get to like a few normies looking at this shit right off the bat, not knowing anything about the furry raiders. They don't know anything about like the alt furry right or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. So let's see how they react to seeing a Vera Nova.
See ya.
Let's see. VCL. Okay.
Milo up to.
And to ask, well, to answer really, my
Milo.
This is only for patrons, by the way. So if you want to, you know, that's Onion Nuggets has its own thing.
What a fucking weirdo, man.
Some of the things that go on and how people end
Is he
up
still straight, TJ? Is Milo still straight?
Yeah, so Milo is a Catholic. He has recently, a couple years ago, or a year ago now, I think he's been saying that he's straight. And he's starting his own ex-gay torture camp for... That's probably just going to end up being a fucking front so he can molest kids or some shit. That's probably what he'll do.
My very special guest. I'm very happy to introduce my guest, Avara Nova. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, please welcome Avara Nova.
Hey.
Now, love, you are 26 years old. You're from Long Island. You work in retail. You're a conservative Trump supporter.
Indeed.
You got
a fucking Nazi band with a Nazi.
Not even a fucking hesitation when they see it, you know. It's just that in itself made me fucking embarrassed that I even gave them any kind of like benefit of the doubt when it came to this sort of shit. Because they didn't make any, they don't make any efforts to denounce it anyway. In fact, they just lean into it more. And they keep on taking on like pieces of shit that no one wants anyone to do with, anything to do with.
It's about 10 years ago when you were looking for things to draw.
Thereabouts, yes, I'm an artist.
Now I have to ask you first of all.
You're an artist, eh? Well, I gotta see this shit. What kind of artist? Are you a good artist or a bad artist?
Write to me. They're going to be very upset. They're going to say, "What's this thing on your arm? What is this? Is this a Third Reich symbol?"
Whoa. Orange doggo bad. Might I just say, it's just a paw print in a circle.
Is that your catchphrase? Orange doggo bad? You just because you kind of said that in a way that it's not really related to what they're asking.
And that's your interpretation of said article of clothing. Now, if that offends people,
That's your interpretation. Okay.
I'm not offended. I just think you're a fucking dork. Like
and boring.
Wow, what a desperate.
Boring.
Cry for attention.
Like, biggest sin.
100%.
Being
Boring.
a furry wasn't enough of a cry for attention to me. I'm gonna be a Nazi furry on Milo Yiannopoulos' garbage-ass fucking show. I'm gonna be a thinly veiled Nazi. If you want to go to that place, it's like you step around. I mean, that's your prerogative, guys.
Okay, well, that's my assumption. This person has to be trolling. No, this person is desperate for attention. I'm sure there's an element of trolling. But this is obviously someone who just wants to get their 15 minutes of fame, to get someone to pay attention and think they're interesting.
This is just like another one who's like, I'm extreme authoritarian alt-right for the memes, bro. It's all memes.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love how it gets to the point too where it's just like, yeah, I did it for the memes. Man, it was really great triggering those SJWs when I went to that Nazi rally, right? Man, it was really great when triggering those SJWs when we raided the Capitol, right? Let's see how this goes.
Thereabouts, yes, I'm an artist.
Now, I have to ask you, first of all, because people are going to write to me. They're going to be very upset. They're going to say, what's this thing on your arm? What is this? Is this a Third Reich symbol?
Whoa. Orange doggo bad. Might I just say, it's just a paw print in a circle, and that's your interpretation of said article of clothing.
Well, that's just your interpretation. Right, so, like, if someone does a bunch of Nazi art, or, you know, or paraphernalia, and it's like, oh, that's just your interpretation, man.
Then they're free to go into their safe space, and I'm fine with that.
Okay. So it's worn as a sort of open-ended provocation to the sorts of people who want to police your views. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's actually an insignia of a group called the Furry Raiders.
The Furry Raiders. Now, I'm a member of this chat.
I know you are, and you got a lot of flack for that shit too.
I did.
Yeah.
Now, tell us what
understandably.
Tell us what the Furry Raiders is.
It's one of the very few groups out there that's one of the last bastions of sanity in this fandom. As to
Is it? As Milo himself gets his career in a spiral when there's an interview on the Drunken Peasants about him being just, you know, a little defensive on child grooming from adults, and then later Joe Rogan's clip came out, and then he went on to hawk merchandise on Catholic sales channels, and now he's saying he's straight and starting his own fucking ex-gay therapy camp. Excuse me, ex-gay torture camp, because that's what they are.
In regards to his being cancelled.
The last bastion of sanity in
Indeed,
your fandom.
Sanity in the fandom, you know. Very loose definition there of sanity.
Okay.
Talking about being dressed up as a furry. But, yes.
I think you look very normal.
Well.
I think you look lovely.
Well.
And in fact, if Mother Nature had only had a bit more sense, I think she would have coloured foxes like that, don't you? I think they would have. I think she would have made foxes a little more fluorescent.
Seriously, though, like that's what it's really all about.
So, what the fuck do you do other than that? Like, you say you're an artist. So let's see. Well, I gotta look up his fucking name again. I keep forgetting how to fucking spell it. Continue on while I look up your fucking art.
That's why we welcomed you to begin with.
Right.
You know,
about free expression and all the rest of it. Okay,
Precisely.
fine.
Precisely.
It's just a very provocative thing to have on your arm. Some people will say.
Some people will say that, but
But the founder
Okay.
of this group isn't he Thai or something?
The founder of the Raiders, yes, his name is Foxler Nightfire.
Oh my god.
He is half Thai.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're a real fucking artist, man. You're a real fucking artist. Holy shit. Oh my god, let me just drop that. Let's see. Okay. Put that in this. Put that right here. What the fuck is that? Why don't you change the output? Come on. There we go. What the fuck is that? The fucking head is huge. Those tiny little hands. Why is the thumb so long? Screw off, Rainbow Cult. Fuck your pride. Man, doesn't even know. Well, I don't think he cares what the history of pride is. He just, yep, desperate cry for attention indeed. Jesus Christ. Yep, you're a real fucking artist. Man, why isn't Marvel or Disney knocked on your door yet? That's your fucking art. Oh my god.
He happens to be in a relationship currently with someone who is not white. And,
not a very good Nazi.
Well, he's not the best Nazi in the world.
Not the best Nazi in the world. Okay, fine. Now let me ask you. Let me ask you the question.
That's what they call him now.
Do you live like this? Are you like this sort of morning, noon, and night? I noticed a little wear and tear on your.
It might have helped to, I don't know, take that stupid fucking lion out so we can get a better view of him, considering one of the camera angles is completely covered.
Well, maybe that's from something else, but
would be expected because these are not actual like furry paws or whatnot. I actually got these from Walmart, and yeah.
I see. So this is your casual Friday night look.
Please.
Oh my God.
I wish it was. Sadly, no.
All right. So you have a normal job, and people at your job presumably don't know that this is your thing.
Should have gave him a mic to hold instead of putting one in his head.
In fact, I
hear that
I
breathing.
won an art competition at my store last month for the holidays. I wish I would have sent you that image. But yeah, it was of my fursona, my candy corn doggo popping out of a pumpkin, and I won a gift basket.
Okay.
Super fun.
Well, congratulations on the gift basket.
Woo! A lot of candy.
Let me ask you the thing that everybody's going to be wondering, the thing that we all secretly want to know. Yeah. Who hurt you? How did you end up like this pumpkin? Because I met you before you put it on, and you seem so nice and normal. And then I'm thinking to myself, and then they get together in these mid-priced business hotels, and just outside Chicago, and they do things to each other. Dressed like this.
Well, I was kind of wondering the same thing about you. But
what
how did that even happen?
Well,
did you make that up, or did someone make it for you?
My fursona was selected for me.
Oh.
Count lower limits who can see their posts, huh? Okay, we'll just change over here. Try again. God damn. That's shitty. All right, Wayback Machine.
By somebody who told me that snow leopards are hungry bottoms. Now, I have no idea what that means, but I'm told. In fact, I think we have a picture of my fursona. Here is Princess Sparkle Claws.
Glorious.
Now, how do you feel about Princess Sparkle Claws?
I think it's glorious.
Are you attracted to Princess Sparkle Claws?
In an aesthetic manner, yes.
So no.
Well,
there's a close-up. Let's see if we can improve your opinion. There's a close-up of Princess Sparkle Claws. Let's get a close-up.
Oh yes. This was.
Nah, doesn't do it for me. Sorry.
The image.
It's the blonde hair
that went viral.
You still don't find this hot?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. Oh, I've been rejected by a fluorescent wolf. No, fox, excuse me. Now, another lovely ensemble from Princess Sparkle Claws. Here's my final, there we go. See, still nothing, even with the Gucci track pants. No. All right, never mind. I tried. You say that you got into this fandom originally because you were looking for things to draw, but obviously it's taken on a life of its own. You're now,
Indeed, yeah.
You're now a moderator in chats, and you've become quite a well-known member of your subculture.
For better or worse, yeah.
What does it mean to you now? Is this a part
means a fucking cry for attention? Indeed, just like they said earlier. You got anything going on?
Your sexual identity? Is it a part of your whole identity? Do you identify with the fox?
First of all, I'm a doggo.
You're a doggo, excuse me. Excuse me.
Candy corn canine.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry.
But yeah,
you know, because they all have these cute faces and heads. Sometimes you can't tell between the dogs and the wolves and the foxes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But it's not a part, like, I'm not, in tune with the whole identitarian political nonsense. It's not a part of my sexual identity, because it has nothing to do with that.
But have you had sex with people in costume?
No. Are you kidding me? Dude, do you know how expensive this is?
Ugh, boring. What the fuck would you... Why the fuck do you have it, then?
Think about it.
I'm not gonna ruin it.
Ruin it.
But people do that.
You can't just wash it, Just wash it. Wash it out. It's that simple.
They do, and they're reckless.
Reckless
good
because,
for them. I mean, I guess.
Because the outfits are expensive.
Are you kidding?
I ain't reckless with mine.
But is that the only reason that it's reckless?
Financially, yes, it would be.
Okay.
It's not something I'm into, but you know, some people do, and
Do your
that's
mum
their
and
prerogative.
dad know that you do this? Do your mum and dad know about this?
They do, yeah.
And what does your mum think about it?
Oh, my mother, bless her heart. She's okay with it, I guess. At the end of the day, it's really just, you know, a fun hobby for me, so.
Okay.
Hobby is what? You're not even playing a character. You're just a guy in a fursuit. So like, what do you do?
There is a problem in the social justice end of the fandom.
There's that fucking camera angle. Can we get that fucking stuffed animal out of the way?
That is
now,
correct.
this seems
What
to
is
be a
the
fandom
setup?
that is overwhelmingly dominated by white gay men, and more often than not, they are very left-wing white gay men. And there is an overlap, believe it or not, with Antifa.
You mean anti-fascist? Is there something wrong with being anti-fascist?
Some people who are out with their black balaclavas of a daytime come home to do this of an evening. You seem to be quite. You've got all the.
I'm very familiar with that aspect.
You've got the gestures down pat, if you don't mind me saying. It's lovely. Yes, yeah, all that shit.
Thank you.
Now, why do you think that so many of your furry brethren are crazed socialists?
Crazed socialists? You mean fair wages, universal health care, holding corporations accountable for their misdeeds, free education, no overblowing of the military budgets and police budgets which comprise of over half of a city's budget in a lot of cases. Where's the crazy part come in? I would love to know what part of that's crazy. The things that other modern countries have, including paid vacation time, by the way. Like actual paid vacation time, not just like 2 weeks out of the fucking year. Paid sick leave.
Honestly, it's the SJW infiltration.
The infiltration, like it was never there,
This is
but
something
all of a
that's been
sudden.
happening since really around late 2015, early 2016.
Man, you would be fucking out there crusading against it when it was in the early days. Because if you go to the early days, guess what they were doing? They were dressing up in fucking leather outfits and beating each other over the head with ball peen hammers, having all kinds of fucking fun. Oh, let's see. First.
Hello, I'm Craftyandy.
Shut up.
These are my thoughts.
Shut up. There's FurryCon, mouse, leather. I have it downloaded, but it'll be easier if I can just find it here. Oh, of course. Up there it is. Gotta turn down the music though. 1989. Of course, someone like him would see this as degenerate now. Okay, let's just move that over here. And drop that. Oh. I'm pretty sure it's a mouse. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the sexual aspect was already there. There's so many furries in denial of this shit. And defensive, too. Like, violent, aggressively defensive. It's unfortunate. Anywho. Finish this fucking...
Two Griffin did mention this before. When, you know, he was canceled, essentially, for, you know, jokes he made on Twitter or social media. Years before, and people are just so offended and so easily. So, you know, platforms like
I'd find
Twitter,
it quite tough to be offended by you.
Oh, well, thank you.
But it turns out that
or excited or entertained.
There are some people on the internet who find you quite objectionable. These social
They
justice
do.
warriors.
They do.
Okay, but
what do you do?
the thing about these furries is they always go very sexual very quickly. And to ask white gay men observation of other fandoms and hobbies as well, but it seems to reach its zenith. It reaches an apotheosis, an apex, in in these more offbeat fandoms. Of the crazy social justice warriors also seem to have a bit of a sexual deviance problem beyond what is obviously unavoidable.
Sexual deviance problem.
There seems to
anything outside the norm is deviant by definition. So how's that a fucking problem in itself, bitch?
If you don't mind me saying, a bit of a kitty fiddler problem among
here we go.
Wing.
This is what I was waiting for.
People in positions of influence or power or authority in the conventions and the
Milo, who is a simp for the Catholic Church, who for I don't know, over the course of hundreds of years has molested thousands and possibly millions at this point of boys and girls of all various underages. When that Pennsylvania report came out of one priest collecting the fucking period blood of a group of sisters, and unlike Furry, the Catholic Church goes out of their way to hide these people and relocate them so that the prosecution is just that much harder, if ever. And some of these stories of people being denied their goddamn experience, it's fucking, it's horrendous. But yeah, come out as a pedo and furry and see how long you last. I'll just say that.
Well, I mean,
or an animal abuser.
Untrue, yeah. So Epstein didn't kill himself, by the way.
Yeah, so it's such a huge problem that whenever someone gets discovered, they're just completely ostracized and almost practically destroyed at every public aspect.
Yes. Of course.
Even the furries know.
We do see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's some pedos out there that like Marvel. I'm pretty sure there's some of them that like video games. Pretty sure there's some of them that like to read books. Some of them probably like football. Some of them like pinball. Some of them like basketball. And all kinds of balls.
Of course, this type of crazy, ideology.
It's a fucking fandom.
Because, like I said, it's like almost infectious.
Right.
And, it attacks different fandoms.
And they sort of cover for each other, don't they?
Sorry?
Because they cover for each other, these left-wing furries.
So he's just going to try to correlate being a rapist with being left-wing, so that when people hear that you're left-wing or gay or furry, they immediately can associate that with something horrendous like that. Okay.
Who run the conventions and whatever.
Is that what he's going to do?
Of serious sexual deviance.
When we call them out, because I happen to be a conservative, God forbid.
I could have.
You call them out, all right? Call them out so hard they come to your group and join up. It's almost like you're covering your own asses.
Told that.
I'm just gonna say that.
I would have. I would have guessed that even without seeing the armband.
Furry Raiders are not politically associated. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, all right. So more or less, yeah.
Has Trump done anything for the furries?
Oh, I wish.
No.
In fact,
he's left your community tragically unaddressed so far in his presidency.
No,
I've been quite disappointed.
Not 100%.
Not 100%. What has he done?
Have you heard of Lion's Guard?
I don't think I have. What's Lion's Guard?
Oh, well, it's not the show, like that animated show from like Lion King. No, it's called Lion Guard. Like, it's actually like Trump's lion persona. That was a thing a few years ago.
Oh, no, I have seen that.
Yeah,
I have seen. Oh, that was you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that was quite cool.
Lion's Guard.
All right, fine.
Right on.
Now, how can you tell when someone's out of costume? How can you tell another furry?
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Because in the non-furry raiders, non-conservative wing of the fandom, in the social justice wing of the fandom, there is an alarming overlap between sexual criminals.
Oh, we're getting back into that now?
And furries. And I want.
We're trying to pad for fucking time? God damn.
And I want you to tell me. If you win, by the way, you get a very special prize. I want you to tell me. You win Johan the Sparkling Unicorn from previous episodes, if anyone's familiar with.
Is one of the pictures you there, Milo?
Awesome.
You got to tell me whether this person who is out of costume is a furry or a kitty fiddler, right? Furry or fiddler?
Bro.
Is it an
Holy
anthropomorph or is it a pedophile? Okay.
Game on. Let's go.
Roll the music, and it's time to play. First up, is this a furry out of costume?
I'm pretty sure they all are.
A kitty fiddler.
Pretty sure they're both, all both or some shit.
The answer is both. That's
Yep.
Anna Lynn Durbin of Coles County, Illinois.
Oh, where's all the coverage for her, though? Where's all the covering up and, like, relocating her and shit? And, you know, pulling up a legal defense and lobbying against the change of laws against, expanding the, what do they call that? Oh my god. What do they call it when the legal time runs out?
Statutory sexual assault, corrupting a minor, and indecently assaulting a person under 16. Next up, fiddler or furry?
Fuck. What is it called? Limitations. Statute of limitations, something like that. Yeah, time limit. There we go. Yeah, statute of limitations. So yeah, the Catholic Church lobbied against expansion of that because they knew it would implicate them even further when it comes to these rape cases. Some of them some reports which included 3,000 different priests.
Furry.
Both.
This
Probably
is
both.
Michael Knox of Henry Cove. Rape of a child, sorry, involuntary deviant, sexual intercourse, sexual exploitation of a minor, 2 counts of unlawful, and a furry as well.
Yeah, so he's just going to keep going on with the different convicted sex offenders so that people can... So he can just indirectly make that connection. Like, if I really went digging, I could pick any random subject, and if I went digging, I could find pedos involved in a lot of things. Because I'm pretty sure he wasn't just involved in furry, right? I'm pretty sure there's other things he likes to do, other than that.
Okay. Next up.
Are they all both? Like, is this rigged?
Furry or fiddler?
I'm gonna say, both.
Both.
Yep, that's both again. Next up, furry fiddler. Oh, is number 4. His name's David Parker.
Yeah, that's
known as Buddy.
I get it.
Furry, but
sure.
Cumberland Countess. Nearly a
Yep.
try to bring on this show a cross section of.
So that's all it is. It's just an attempt to, you know, plant the seeds so that people can make those associations. Because you could do that with fucking anything.
American life, and you're something more like a.
Why the person privated this interview? I don't know. Pretty fucking dull.
Mexican section or something. whatever you are. Thank you for joining us. It's been lovely getting to know you a little bit and getting your perspective on things. And it's worth considering for our viewers at home. That even in the most unusual fandoms, you will find sound Trump voting conservatives. Look at you. You're adorable. You're adorable.
Oh, can I give you a hug?
You can.
Oh, that's really creepy.
I'll never be clean again. No, I'm just.
This hobby is overrun by weirdos. Yeah. You say so, buddy.
It's been wonderful having you. Thank you so much.
Like, what's with this push of trying to like normalize or be normal, quote unquote? Like, who are you trying to appease? Christians ain't gonna like ya. Especially since, you know, most of you are gay. I'm bi in a gay relationship.
You've been watching Friday Night's All Right. This was Friday. Thank you very much for watching.
Give me a sick stomach feeling.
I'm petering out of this week's episode, deeply disturbed.
Yeah. It's making me feel sick.
Would I?
That's
would
great.
I? No, I wouldn't. Thank you from me. Thank you from Stormanigans. Rachel.
That it? Alright. Oh, fuck that guy. Nice to know his career is just in the shitter for the rest of his life. Alright. we're going to get to some other things, but getting into that hour mark here, over the hour mark. About an hour and a half now. I'll save it for next week. We're going to try to aim this for an earlier time, preferably right around like 6 p.m. But yes, feel free to subscribe to the other channels. Crafty Arts and Pause Off. Pause Off should have a stream coming up at around 1 p.m. tomorrow. Be playing some Breakdown. I got the Etsy stored. Want to check some of that out. Patreon. And then, yeah, I'll get some more things lined up for next week. I don't know if I'll make this every week, but there'll be announcements. There'll be a posting long before the show intends to start, so hopefully everything will work out this week and we can do that. Alright. Thanks for those that came by. Invincible Dragon, Dalen, Ali, Bandit. Love ya. Love you all. Alright, let's get out of here. Music. Get that music going.